Hi, Kat. How are you?
Hi, Julie. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good too, thank you. Can you tell us where you're located?
I'm currently in Pennsylvania in the US.
Very nice. Can you please describe your art to people who haven't seen it? What materials do you use? What's your process like? And what are you inspired by?
Cool. I'm inspired by the natural phenomenon in art in everyday life. So my artwork is based off of the magic in our world that people just tend to miss. I believe that there are so many components in everything we do with each other, with like every single thought that pops into your head. So when it comes to my paintings, I combine all different types of media because of that. So like I like to have abstracts with a realistic portion because I believe that that's what life is.
Very nice. And I love the paintings we can see behind
Thank
you.
you.
What materials do you use?
I actually use maybe too much, but I use a combination of watercolor, collage, some pastel, acrylics, and oil.
And how do you usually start a painting?
I always start loose. I just try to um, kind of make a big mess to kill the canvas white or stain everything. And I usually start with really, really bright colors and opposite of what I want the main color to be, to really brighten up. Like if I'm going to do a blue painting, it will most likely be lots of warms, yellows, and oranges underneath to make the blue brighter.
Wow, that's interesting. I should try that. And how did you get your start in art?
Well, I was actually really young when I first started painting. I was actually in middle school when I was enrolled into an art program, and I had my first art show at that time. I was what, 12? Yeah, about. I sold everything in that show, and it made me fall in love with how people felt about seeing my paintings more than my actual paintings. I thought I could create something that made people feel good and inspire them to do something else. And that's kind of where my feeling and love for art started. But since then, I I didn't view art as being in a career path that I can rely on. So I would try to stray away from it. But every single thing led me right back into art, no matter what I did. Like I was going to high school for veterinary science, and they're like, well, we like your sketches that you did in your notebook. So we're just going to put you in the art program since you can't go into vet because it's full. And I'm like, well, guess I'm in the art program. And then same thing happened in college. Like I was originally going for vet tech, and I don't know, I got depressed with the classes. Like I kept seeing the sick animals, and um, I did a drawing for a friend, and she's like, "Why are you going for vet? Why don't you go for art?" And so I decided to change. I kind of fell into it each and every time.
So there was a plan already laid out for you.
Yeah,
You just had to follow. Very nice.
exactly.
What artist are you influenced by, and who's your favorite artist, dead or alive?
Ooh, I'm influenced by so many artists, even more so by people that aren't creating paintings. Like a lot of chefs, believe it or not, um, a lot of like those people
Crochet
that knit.
makers?
Yeah, geez, like the crochet makers, a lot of ceramists, amazing, and a lot of blacksmiths, like the knife making and stuff like that. Only because I see how they engulf themselves in the process, and I see their joy, and I see how happy they are once they go through this turmoil of like the heat from melting the metal and stuff like that, and how happy they are for you to receive whatever it is that they're making. That really inspires me completely. But in terms of artists, my favorite artist, I'm so sorry to all the other artists, but but my favorite artist is Vanessa Lemon, because I when I look at her pieces, that's exactly what I feel. I and she shows her process, and you see all of the different steps that she goes through to create it. and it's just a beautiful thing.
Very nice. I have to look her up. I don't know her. What is the most challenging part for you about being an artist?
The imposter syndrome. I have so much trouble when I get into my own head sometimes. Like, oh, nobody's gonna like it. I'm not even a real artist and stuff like that. I think that's the hardest thing to overcome because there's nobody that can help you out of it. It's literally just you. That's I think the biggest challenge for me. But what helps me through it is literally keep painting. That's the only way out.
And what tip would you give your younger self from the point of view today?
To not question things that makes you feel good and to just keep going. If art makes you feel good, then just keep doing it.
Thank you. That's very valuable. What do you most value in life? What do you want to say with your art?
I want to say that the world is a beautiful place and we should appreciate every moment of it because life is too short, pretty much.
Perfect. Good answer. Do you sometimes experience creative blocks and how do you overcome them?
Ooh, yeah, all the time. All the time. I either try the 100 painting challenge or I create abstracts. Abstracts kind of push you to just throw stuff down and problem solve from there. So I think being able to have access to all these materials really helps me out of my block.
Great. And what is next for you in the future? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Uh, I'm hoping that I'll be traveling, showing my artwork everywhere around the world and seeing everybody else's. That's my main goal. But I don't really have a plan that's too far deep because everything changes, especially with what we're dealing with right now in the world. So for the most part, that's my main thing is I get to show my art all over the world and hopefully spark some inspiration in other people.
How can people find your art? Do you have an Instagram?
I do. It's catm_fine art. And then my website is catmfineart.com.
Thank you very much for the interview.
You're welcome.